Ladies and gentlemen, you are very welcome back. We are on the countdown to the Abs Pro 2022 on August 13th. I'm joined here by one of our pro male athletes, Mr. Rob Spence, ranked number one in the under 140 kilo powerlifters in UK history. Rob, thank you very much for giving us some of your time today.
Thanks for having us.
It is my absolute pleasure. I'm actually, as I mentioned to you just before we kicked off, I've been looking over some of your monstrous stats here. So I can see even from your Instagram bio, your 962.5 raw total at under 140 kilos. That is absolutely outstanding total and bringing very competitive numbers into the Abs Pro now in a couple of weeks. My question to you is just based off that, just to get right into it. I can see from your Instagram training's going well. I'd imagine you're going to smash that total in this competition.
Yeah, absolutely. That total in the sleeves. So just trying to get used to the wraps again. So I'm walking it out, but we'll see what happens.
That's one of the big elements with the Abs Pro, and one of the things I've been discussing with some of the other pro lifters I've had the chance to talk to is that challenge, that is that extra element that sometimes will throw off even some extremely seasoned athletes. So we're going to be lifting on a 20 kilo power bar. It won't be the 25 kilo squat bar. It's going to be stiff bar in the deadlift. The squats are walked out. Like, that element is something that can throw some athletes off. How do you feel like you've prepared for it? Do you feel ready?
Yeah, I'm just trying to do focus on one thing at a time instead of trying to do all these get all these new factors in. But it's definitely a whippier bar than what I'm used to. But I'm, in another sense, I'm more used to the safety squat bar, so it's a bit easy from that aspect. But it's definitely a lot shaky and more unstable. So yeah.
Well, it is a massive consideration. Like, it is that difference, and that's what makes the Abs Pro one of the most competitive platforms in Europe. Yeah. I mean, I'm sure yourself, I know it's going to be your first time competing with us at the Abs Pro, but you've probably seen some of the footage yourself or some of the live streams. Like, the standard is super, super high. How are you feeling ahead of that? Like, we're quite strict on the standards for depth, for squats, for bench, and for deadlift lockouts and things like that. I assume, based on what I've seen on your Instagram, I know your standard lifting's excellent, so I assume you're confident on all those.
Yeah, like I said, it's just the squats for me. It's just getting the depth there, being positive that depth there, because I don't want to be walking out this ugly squat. I don't want to be struggling to be given like 2 or 3 red lights, and I'll just take it out of us for the rest of the day. But it's definitely depth. My mobility's alright for depth, so I think it's just trying to get away with as little as I can.
Yep.
And when I squat too deep, it starts to turn into a bit of a good morning for me.
Yeah.
Especially in wraps, but I can get away with it a little bit. As well.
It's definitely trying to find that sweet spot with the squats for depth. You definitely want to get it in, but you don't want to sacrifice any power or position for more depth. Now, I can see from your training history, the best squat you have recorded on record for open powerlifting in wraps is 380 kilos, which is massive. But again, that was last year. That was last summer, almost a year to the day that we're talking now that was set.
Yeah.
What are we looking like? Squats set the tone of the comp. What are we looking at for Abs Pro? Now, you don't have to give away your numbers if you've got a game plan.
Yeah. I'll let Jake think he can beat us. But well, to be honest, that was my first powerlifting show. I didn't really know. I was squatting high bar as well, so I didn't even know what low bar was at that point. Yeah. So I've tweaked a few things like my hand placement and obviously getting the bar set nice and low on my back and tight. And I think back then I didn't even know how to brace properly, man. So, but now I've obviously took a step back, watched other people, watched a few seminars, and listened to obviously a few good coaches. And it's feeling so like nice now. It's comfortable as squats can be. But yeah, I think I could get a couple of reps at that now. So
amazing. Yeah. Even looking at your training background, so you're the 2-time under 23 UK strongest man. So Coming from a strongman background, how are you finding like the kind of rigid rule set in powerlifting versus like strongman is about pure demonstrations of strength and endurance? And for me, I'll be honest, the first thing that ever got me into strength sports was watching strongman. I think strongman is cool. It's like the coolest sport there is. So big respect to you guys that do it. And so that's my question. How have you found that, like transitioning from strongman to like the strict narrow scope of powerlifting?
I think obviously the foundations have a really good carryover, but I like how strict it is compared to strongman. You see some absolute long lifters just walking in, saying online like, oh, they could do that, but they couldn't. It's a lot stricter. I like how they set rules. You can't have an ugly hitch. You can't walk, like step the bar up onto your knees. You can't do this and that. But I like how even this competition, it's stricter than others. I like how you've got this guideline you have to follow, and it's either that or you're not given the lift pretty much. So in that aspect, I like it a lot better. Well,
I mean, you stand to that as you say, there is that great foundation and crossover. Like you stand to that. Like your performance in the few powerlifting competitions you've had has been outstanding. Looking now over, as I said, looking at your open powerlifting, your current DOTS best is 539.32, which is that's world class, and that you set that last year. So you've had a year to gain and grow and get stronger. So very excited to see what you can do on the platform. Now, you did mention earlier on, like when you first got into the sport, as you mentioned, you know how to brace, you were spotting high bar. You've had time now to watch and look at some other pro athletes, some of the great lifters, even some we have coming up in the Abs Pro lineup, Jake Brennan, Jesse Moore and Luke Tolman. So my question to you is, looking at this lineup, who do you think is going to give you the most trouble for that number one spot? What are your predictions for the day? Who do you know you're going to beat? Who are you predicting you're going to beat? Like what are you feeling coming into the big day?
I'm going to be honest, my number one goal is Jake. I would like to out-total him, and that's my priority at the minute. But obviously, as you can tell, he weighs a little bit more than me. I've actually cut weight since last year. I was under 140 for my first competition. I think I was 139. The Spartan goal where I got 962 was in sleeves. I weighed 129, I think.
Yeah, I've got it in front of me.
Oh, right. Now I'm 119, 120.
Wow.
Yeah, I know. So, and I feel stronger right now than I did then. So, I don't know how that's going to work out for my DOTS, but obviously it's going to benefit us.
So leaner and stronger.
Yeah.
Savage. That's the best combo there can be, huh?
Yeah.
Well, like, you know what? That's the thing. So Jake Brennan is the first man in Ireland to total 1,000 kilos, and he calls himself the king of Irish powerlifting. So to him, the Abs Pro is something not only he's willing to earn it, but like it's his title, he believes, you know. Like I know Jake personally. I get along with Jake. He's a really good guy, very, very outspoken, but I know, as much shit talk as he might say, he loves the fact that you're saying you're going to give him a run for his money. He will love that on the day. And frankly, man, Jake performs well under pressure. So I know if you're going to push him like on those squats, I think we're going to see some good stuff. You know what I mean? Like we've got a couple of strong squatters coming into the comp. Mason Mills himself actually said he'd love to push Jake a little bit on the squats. Mason himself is not predicting himself to podium, but he does want to push a 400 plus kilo squat. Now here's my question to you. Are you going to be pushing for that number one podium spot?
Absolutely. Without giving away too much, I would like to be pushing 400 plus. Especially like, I'll be honest, I was going to talk some shit there, but I don't know what numbers I'm going to. It was all, see, I work it out on the past couple of weeks, see how they feel, how they go, what they obviously, how smooth they feel. But I've got a guideline what I'm sticking to, and it's definitely, I wouldn't be happy with anything less than 400. So.
Like a couple of years ago in the Abs Pro, man, that was like not even heard of, you know. And now we've got a couple of lifters pushing it. That's outstanding for us as you know, like fans of the sport, spectators, other like athletes ourselves. Amazing that you guys are bringing us this standard, and I can't wait to see it on the day. But you did mention, you know, you're playing it cool, you're being a good guy, you're not talking too much shit. Let me ask you a question. So I'm sure you've seen online on Instagram, we've got Jesse Moran and Luke Tolman in a war of words. Jake Brennan has been chiming in. Hayden Wiseman has said he's going to come in and get a higher dot score than everybody in sleeves. We've got Mason Mills just memeing with Hercules. It's been phenomenal. But you know what? I will say this. I've looked at your numbers here now, and I honestly like those are crazy impressive, and I think you're definitely going to present an element that these guys are not considering. So you've been completely left out of the conversation for the number one spot or even the podium or being competitive. I will say this in conversation, so I've talked to all the guys down on Abs. Hercules, Jared Buckley, who is another man like yourself, he competes in powerlifting and strongman. He has said he does think there's a chance you could run away with the comp. He has definitely spoken up in your corner. So give me your thoughts. All these guys, they're basically ignoring that your name is on that list. How does this make you feel with the numbers you're pushing?
Absolutely love being in the underdog. I talk to Jake on a daily basis. He's even just messages right now. He talks absolute shit. But he's lovely. He's been giving us pointers. He's been pulling us, like critiquing me, everything I'm doing. So I like that. I like being like the better athlete if people pull us apart on my technique, and it just makes us better squatter overall. But Jake's fucking shit talker. But yeah, I think I've been focused on that many other powerlifters for like the dots and stuff. Like I said, working on dots, I haven't even sat down and worked it out. For what I want, I would beat Luke's last year's dots. But obviously it depends what he brings on the day this year. Him and Jesse, so yeah, it goes by that really. But my number one priority is the total. Absolutely.
That's what they say, there ain't no weight classes in the jungle. You know,
exactly,
it's all about that big total. Well, so like that kind of raises the question, as you say now, and like most people, I sometimes like right now, Luke is projected first. Most people are projecting Luke as number one, and there is this war between him and Jesse. But most people are safely saying it's going to be Luke. They think he's going to take it. He'll have it before the deadlifts even hit the floor. Now, I think the best way this competition can run, I've said it to everybody else, is we are still waiting to see who's going to come out on that number one podium spot by the time the third deadlifts are up. I think that will be the best case scenario for everyone, for the audience, for the lifters, for the fans of the sport, and for Jay Farrant, who will absolutely love it. He's planning to set us all on fire, by the way, just so you know. He's got new fire machines for the Abs Pro. But the point I'm bringing up here is that I do think, you know yourself, you've been in competition, you can have the best prep, but it all goes to shit on the day.
Yeah.
Other people can have a really bad prep and just pull it out of the bag. You can just on the day get that, you know, whatever that is, that competition bravado that just makes you add those extra 10-15 kilos and you get it. Like we know, for example, Jake has, and I say this with love, Jake, if you're watching, he is notorious for dropping his third deadlift. So everything on the day could be.
I've been saying that he's got a limp grip. But I've been seeing a couple of comments, and I've noticed that Jesse's he's got a bad grip, isn't he, or a weaker grip?
Well, so again, the thing about Jesse is they call him Butterfingers at the moment. Jesse pulls hook grip, and I will say this as well. From like I have lifted in the same flight as Jesse before, and I've always gotten along with him. I actually quite like Jesse, and I know he like talks a lot of shit, but I actually love that. So he's pulled. The thing is for Jesse, I know in the past due to injury and things like that, he has pulled out of a couple of competitions. The last time he pulled on a stiff bar in competition at an Abs Pro, he finished on a 320 deadlift, which obviously by today's standards, what the athletes were bringing across now, like yourself, like Mason as mentioned, like we've got Ben Crawwell in Abs, we've got like even some of the lighter lifters, Damien Nam, Hayden Wiseman, these guys are all pulling like that way and way more. So like I think people are comparing it to then, whereas if anybody has followed Jesse for any length of time, this guy is a monster deadlifter. He's a monster deadlifter. So again, people are commenting saying he's done this on the deadlift bar, that on the monolift, and you know, no walkout. So I am excited to see what Jesse does on the day, but I do think that is that uncertainty, that uncertain element. But what I'm curious about for all these athletes, and yourself included, it's not about what you are posting on Instagram. I'm curious about what you're not posting on Instagram. You know, what's not making it on, you know?
Yeah, exactly. I'll pull grip as well. I found it, obviously it's hard off the floor, but I find it better from a grip for some reason on the stiff bar. I feel like a deadlift bar, obviously being thinner, it rolls a little bit in the slack of your fingers.
Yeah.
But I get a nice grip, I get a nice grip, like grasp on my thumb on a stiff bar. So, but I failed 350 for 2 the other day. Just going by grip. I blame it on the heat, like everyone else is. But I don't know. That's the first ever time I've failed on grip on any event, really. But I feel like obviously chalking it right on the day, keeping it nice and cool. I feel like I could put a lot more. I feel like deadlift, put straps on, I could add like 30, 40 kilo on that. So.
Well, I mean, you've got like right now, as of recording, we're about 3 weeks out, so there's plenty of time to clean that up, get well recovered. I know you're waiting to eat a meal here, and I'm distracting you. So, I'm confident you'll get here on the day. You'll be fresh as a daisy. But that's what we want. I want somebody like you to come in, wake these guys up. Like, don't get me wrong, I have massive amount of respect for a lot of these lifters, as I mentioned, Jake, Jesse, Luke, all these guys, the guys that are pushing for those top 3 spots, and plenty of the other guys I've had a chance to speak to. They're all phenomenal athletes in their own right, but the best thing for us, guys watching, we want the most unpredictable competition we can, and I do think you're bringing that element to it. So as I mentioned, I'm hoping after this interview goes up, these guys will start to mention your name a bit more, and you know, hopefully you make your presence known on the day. And I know, so it sounds like from what you're saying, the one you're pushing is you want to give, more than anything, you want to give Jake a run for his money.
Yeah, absolutely. I want to see what his total's like. He's putting some impressive numbers up, but obviously it depends on the day if he can hold on to it or not.
Yep.
Yeah, I want to be pushing that 1,000 total. I think I've got it. Well, I think I have got it. Depends how much more over I've got planned in the day. So, and if that happens at 120 body weight, then see what I'm like on the podium.
Yeah, so you're basically going to push the numbers, and the score, the formula can be whatever it is. You're just going to push as hard as you can for those monster numbers. Love it, man. I think, honestly, I'd prefer that. Like, I mean, it's cool to say, like, you know, yeah, well, I mean, I had this many dots, but not saying that, I total over 1,000 kilos. That's badass. Very few people can say that. Now, I did want to also bring up with you, it's something I brought up to some of the other athletes. So, you haven't had a chance to lift that in Abs Pro before. So this is one thing about these competitions and all Abs series competitions. We have one of the best platform crews anywhere. I would put our platform crew against any other platform crew anywhere else in the world. That means we have really quick turnover on those bars getting loaded. Your weights are going to be prepared for you really, really quick. Abs also, at this time of year, we talked about it just before we start recording, it is roasting hot, right? Abs right now is an absolute sauna. It's a hot box. All right, so just to give you some prep ahead of time, so your attempts are going to be coming up very quick. You are going to be boiling hot. Now, don't get me wrong, we've got a pretty big warm-up area. There's plenty of room for everybody, but it is a very, like, not only are you up against some of the greatest athletes, not only in Ireland and the UK, but all over Europe, and in some cases all over the world. You're also in one of the fastest moving and most efficient platforms on the planet. And you're going to be held to the highest standard. You're also, by the way, going to be surrounded by smoke machines, fire, and I don't know, sometimes just pole dancers, sometimes just heavy metal bands. You're going to have a lot going on. Gino Powerlifting, the Pirate, is going to be there. It's going to be absolutely wild. How are you feeling about taking all this into consideration? Not just the competition, not just the other athletes and the shit talk on Instagram. How are you feeling about all of these things?
Yeah, I'm feeling pretty good. I've never been one for having too much rest on any event, really, especially coming from Strongman. So I think I've never really had to change much training for like powerlifting. I know some comes slower than others, but I'd rather be like train harder, like work harder in training than I would in comp. Heat element's always a thing. I'm just gonna have to keep on top of it with hydration, keep the salts coming in. But everything else, I pretty much switch off from everything else and focus on the bar, getting loaded, me lifting, and you'll see a totally different element to me, how switch on I am on the day. So
brilliant.
Yeah.
And that's it. Like, the competition mentality is something people don't think about. Like, we see it when a lot of new lifters come into powerlifting. You know, they're looking at what they're putting up in the gym, and they don't get that when that, you know, the competition comes on and they say bar is loaded, you're going to see what you're made of. Because some people genuinely shit the bed the moment they get out there, you know. So yeah, man. Like, honestly, I'm super excited. Like, this is probably the most competitive and like stacked lineup we've ever had for an abs pro. We've had some incredible athletes in the past, and we've got some of those returning this time. As I mentioned, you said, so your big challenge coming into this is you're going to take Jake Brennan, you're going to push him to his limit, which I think is phenomenal. I think that's brilliant, man. I love that you're pushing Jake. Jake likes pressure, and I'm really hoping it brings out the best in him, because he is having a monster prep, man. He's doing really, really well. So again, now for you, another element is you're going to be flying into the country. Are you coming in with your coach? Do you have a team around you? Are you well supported?
Just me and my girlfriend.
Oh, cool.
I've been training self-wrapped, which obviously is a fucking totally different game changer. I am knackered before I even squat, but Jake's helping us out. I think he's asked around for a couple of lads to wrap and help us out. So that'll take massive pressure off us. Obviously in training, I've been rolling them back up. I've been kind of holding my breath, trying to wrap myself. And, it's been an absolute.
It's brutal. It's brutal.
Oh yeah.
It makes squatting in sleeves just like a holiday. It feels great. Like,
I think that's what I prefer. I was actually a few weeks ago. I was thinking about just doing sleeves, just because of that. But obviously, I told Jake, and he said, "No, shit, just do wraps." He doesn't want. What he said was he doesn't want any excuses to come for me when he beats us.
That's Jake.
Yeah.
Well, do you know what, man? Like, we will definitely take care of you on the day. We have a lot of fantastic lifters over here that are more than willing to help and very, very experienced with wrapping. So I'm sure you will be well taken care of on the day.
Yeah. Thank you very much.
Absolutely.
But yeah, I've just been. I haven't been wrapped. My wraps are pretty like stiff, so I'm being able to get them out like revolutions I possibly could be getting. So it's been feeling really off. It's been pretty much feeling like I've been squatting in sleeves, compared to like what I'm used to when someone else is wrapping us. So yeah, just me and my girlfriend, and hopefully my mate comes over as well on the day. So
man, that's super chill. That's nice. Like, hopefully you guys get to see some of Ireland while you're here as well and enjoy yourselves. But like, you know,
stopping for 4 days, so
that's savage, man. It's like a mini holiday. And just lift some massive weights on one of the days as well. Yeah. Well, Rob, I am so excited to get you over here. I'll be honest, until I actually sat down today and took a look at your numbers on Open Powerlifting and on your Instagram account, I didn't realize what an absolute contender we were looking for. As I mentioned, Jercules was gassing you up to me a couple of weeks ago. He's saying this guy's he could run away with the whole thing, man. So like, big up for that. And I'm loving that you're giving Jake a run for his money on those squats. I hope it brings out the best in both of you. And frankly, I wish you all the best of luck with your contention for the #1 spot at the Abs Pro 2022.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, man. So with that, we're going to wrap things up. If you want to, I'm sure you want to shout out the girlfriend. She's going to be coming for support. But if there's anybody else you want to give a quick shout out to, then we'll get going.
Yeah, just everyone bring the A game, and I'm looking forward to meeting everyone.
Fantastic, man. We're looking forward to having you. So, team watching at home, that is the Abs Pro 2022. Mr. Rob Spence is going to be coming in. He is challenging all the athletes on the platform. He's coming for Jake Brennan's squat. He's going to be pushing some big numbers. Abs Pro 2022, August 13th. You can get down to Abs Powerlifting Club to watch it live. You can join us on the live stream. You can find more details below, gang. We will see you again very, very soon.